Hello there, and welcome to a Vi Jungle game, an attack speed Vi Jungle game. So, um, let's talk about the clear a little bit since we're about to start our jungle path. Basically, for a while now, the meta has been to start red buff, and of course, you can start whichever bot. There's two things you can do. Okay, I'm fumbling. First thing you can do is start where your bot lane is on that side of the map. You get a good healthy leash, but then if you're starting blue you get less early pressure because you're weaker in the 1v1 against the enemy jungler if you run into them, because you don't have red. So, generally I prefer starting red so you get that map control. You can be more aggressive with your plays. Why? Because you have the red buff. If you run into the enemy, you're gonna wreck them. Now, we're doing red Krugs into Scuttle, which gives you level 3. Actually, just red Krugs any camp will give you level 3. If you do any other kind of clear that doesn't involve the Krug camp, you're gonna need 4 camps to hit level 3. Now, this Fiora is pushed up quite a bit, and I didn't see her ward, so I'm ganking, obviously. And what you want to do when you're ganking from behind like this, you don't use your Q on the approach. You wait for the enemy to try and build distance. Now, ideally, I don't want to Q into her W, but yeah, I guess it turns into a flat trade. Now, here, this is a disaster. However, Fiora goes aggressive where she shouldn't have, and get an easy first blood and salvage that awful first gank that I did. And Warwick, for whatever reason, tries to run past us towards his turret. Now, you shouldn't do this. Just run into wherever you can find safety quickest. Like, just going down the tri-bush and over here disappearing. He could have eluded capture if he took a different path and didn't have to die there at all. Now, ideally, you want to use the Scourge Bloom to scout out the enemy jungle, see what camps are up. Like, as soon as the enemy jungler is off the map, you get, or any enemy, like if you're laning and your opponent just backed or got killed, you gotta take advantage of that somehow. Now, sometimes you'll just grab an extra wave or two and get ahead in the CS department. We're doing that by stealing a camp. Now, Yasuo just pinged for help, and this Galio is playing quite aggressively, so we use that. We're able to do some decent damage. I don't really know why Yasuo ignited there. And, don't be scared to do ganks like these where you just do some damage to the enemy laner. This isn't gonna work out. I'm there to counter gank because I didn't see how awful the Warwick's approach there was. Like, Yasuo had a third Q. Just excellent defense against this. And thanks to the Pixel ward, we see that he's going for it again. Now, this is a terrible Q. Don't do this. Terrible. And here's another terrible Q. Like, my first 3 Qs just god awful. Like, both of those times, first Q, Warwick was charging his fear. Don't charge Q. Wait for the fear to expire, then Q. Same with the Galio stun. Like, when you have these telegraphed CC abilities, wait them out and then gap close and do your, whole fisting fetish. So, yeah, I was talking about advantages, getting them. See, Ariasu is up quite a bit of CS because Galio had to back early. We're not really up on the Warwick here because, we've been ganking a lot, but basically that camp that he lost, the Wolf camp, that is gonna turn into a CS advantage. Like, since the camp respawn timers have been increased for like over a year now, they're pretty long. I think they're like 2.5 minutes, and now you don't really get to hard farm the jungle and get ahead in CS by playing farm junglers. That's what you haven't been seeing a lot of, that style. You have to farm gank. You gotta combine it, or you're gonna be like invisible on the map. So, however, if you steal camps, that turns into a lasting advantage that you can do something with. Speaking of which, we're already up on the enemy jungle, about 400, 500 gold, and we're gonna see that lead balloon. Now, why attack speed 5? I don't believe I fully explained the build. basically what you want to do is you want to max W for the clear, the 1v1 power, and extra survivability, because they've introduced a new mechanic where not only is your blast shield buffed, it has more. It has a 15% max HP value now. Shields for more than it used to. It used to be 10%. But also, every time you proc W, the CDR reduces by 3 on that shield. So if you keep proccing W, you keep getting shields. And you will see this in later fights where we proc the shield 2 or 3 times per fight, and that's a lot of survivability on a very squishy build. Now, obviously that's not the only reason why. The thing I like about it, like, there's just something satisfying about playing attack speed champions and champions with attacks, out attack resets. And really the benefit is you get to take objectives faster. Now, with this build, you can solo Dragon Herald a lot more easily. You know, you take away camps quickly. So, since we've cleared our jungle, there isn't really much of anything to do, so we're going for a gank here. Just waiting around. Our Yasuo is pushed up, so maybe Warwick will decide to gank him here. It's a good opportunity for a counter gank. You'll notice that I use my pink on the bush, make sure that it's not warded. And here we do see Warwick hovering around this area. Maybe there's something gonna go down, you know, our camps are down, we're not really, you know, we're putting ourselves into a position where we could gain an advantage. We're not losing anything by sitting in that bush because the camps are down. We're just waiting for the play to see a good play happen. So, yeah, here I'm thinking that maybe I'll get the Skull Crab and do that solo dragon, because I haven't really seen any reason not to. Like, our bot lane does back. They seem to have decent enough pressure to keep their opponents in lane. Same for Galio. Now, unfortunately, there's no dragon, but Warwick blunders into us and gets fisted quite violently, I'm afraid. Now, our top laner is unfortunately losing his lane after the pressure that we have applied to his lane. He wasn't able to capitalize on that. And of course, I'm doing it again, what I spoke about earlier. As soon as Warwick dies, what do? I go into his jungle, take a camp, leave one of the small ones up, because that way the camp doesn't respawn until he's cleared it. Now here we saw Pyke. I thought maybe there's going to be a gank going down mid. No dice. He's scared. And we just back as we have our completed Razor in the base. And the build that I'm running, item-wise, is actually a Cowset build for Master Yi that is so powerful on its own that, well, you'll see later what I'm talking about. It just gives you a lot of room when you want to smack down and control the map. So we saw that Warwick is once again approaching our mid lane, so I wanted to do the dragon again. We can solo it really quickly, but since there is a fight going on, we're gonna flash on in there and fuck up by eating the minions. Although, to be fair, the Warwick was rather high HP, so he wouldn't have died. Now, these guys think they can 2v1 me, but I'm pretty fed and confident with this. Even if Zac didn't show up, I'm quite certain they'd, yeah, pop pretty fast, and then the other one would just run away. But fortunately, our support, Zac, that's an interesting one, showed up and had a wonderful gank mid. Now, it's not often that you're the jungler and you receive a gank from one of your teammates. That was fun. So here we are, once again hovering around that dragon. I really want to start stacking the dragons when we find Pyke, who doesn't really understand how quickly I can kill him, you know. And sure, Galio has some scary upfront bursts, but he can't really kill me there. Oh, and I don't know if you noticed, but we juked the Pyke stun with our R, because if you're not playing Vi or haven't seen her in a while, her R makes her unstoppable. So it's very useful for you know, ignoring some CC. Well, here we chased the enemy off, so I want to finally do this dragon, but our team had some different ideas, and they're kind of yeah, let's just rewind to see this alt one more time, because this is just not a very good idea. Just chasing in without vision into the enemy jungle, like there's gonna be 4 people there, and you don't know where danger is coming from. But this Caitlyn ult is just, you know, I guess she was looking at this fight and kind of lost awareness, like screen awareness. It's not even map awareness, just, you know. Unfortunately, this did seem like a bad play, and it is, you know, ending with a lot of deaths on our team. We're kind of throwing the game, but I was too far to really help there, you know, after the dragon was done, so I just pushed mid, took a plate. And this is a good way to stay in the game, you know. If you are finding yourself falling behind on one side of the map, go and do something on the other side of the map. So we just had a bad play mid, bot lane, sorry, and we took a plate mid, and we're now ganking top again, because this Fiora is just hopelessly overextended, and even though there's a pink in that bush, she doesn't see us. We charge our Q in the bush so she doesn't see it coming, and we smack her about. Yep, that's dead Fiora right there. And let's see how are we doing in the gold department. We already have a 650 gold bounty, so not too shabby. We're up about 2,000, not quite, 1,600 gold, something that area, yeah, 1,700. So yeah, we're starting to get out of hand. We're gonna have to back soon and get our item. We just generally you don't want to do red before backing because you're wasting the timer on the buff. But here I was kind of worried that Warwick might try and take it away while I'm backing, so I wanted to make sure that I'll have it, even if it is for a shorter amount of time. Now bot lane, we see that there's a skirmish going down. Yasuo fancied some Pyke booty. He got that booty, and Sivers are extending here and getting kind of messed up. Not sure what that ignite is, but you know, whatever works. And since our mid laner is not in lane, we held the lane. We took a wave of farm, and it's a very nice little supplement to our gold count. And you can see that even just with recurve bow and the blood razor, this build is ramping up. Now, granted, when you're fed, and any build is viable. Now we see Warwick coming here, so nope, I guess I missed that. Yeah, this is bad. See, if I just waited in the bush, I could have maybe intercepted another Warwick gank. Now he saw me, and he's going for this anyway. And really, I was hoping for Yasuo to take this with his ult, this knockup, but I guess he wasn't aware that I'm close enough to help. Or I maybe was expecting the enemy team to chase up the lane, in which case my Q would land. Now there's a Pyke mid, so that's a 3-man gank mid. They really want that Yasuo booty, so yeah, we're gonna pay another visit to this Fiora and just show you what's going on here. So there's full vision of us getting there, and unfortunately she's just hasn't been able to pay attention to her wards, which you really should do. If you're pushed up like that, you never want to be pushed up in front of the enemy turret for a very long time. You want to shove that wave and back off, you know, just sit farther away from danger, you know, soak up XP, wait for the wave to come back to you. Now here we aren't aware that there was a ward in the bush spotting us. We just queue over the wall to not get revealed by the scuttle crab, and sure enough, they don't really see that we're doing Herald, but Warwick is assuming so. Very good on him for catching that. But yeah, the DPS on this build is wonderful. Just look at how quickly we do that. There's just no way he can't get here before it's finished. Wonderful, very satisfying. Now here I'm just walking out the Jax. You know, he's very overextended. He just got us first turret blood thanks to all of those gang stops. Lovely jubbly. And I didn't want Warwick predatoring him, and you know, we'd be losing some more map control there. We're just trying to control the map. So, we're rich, quite rich. Oh, 404. Brain not found. We have a juicy herald in our inventory now, and we're kind of gonna want to use that somewhere. So I'm looking at mid, I'm looking at bot. Unfortunately, the 14-minute mark is passed, and we're not gonna be able to get plates with it. And this is something that I should have done really much sooner. You know, just do the herald and use it to get plates. It's a good way to snowball. Now here's another dragon that we might be able to get with our great pressure mid, and the fact that I'm quite strong. Now we pinged this because Yasuo was camping it, just to make sure that, you know, we're not wasting time. But the enemy team is nowhere to be found. Now thanks to this anti-smite ward, well, this is a good ward to prevent dragon steals. Thanks to that, we see Warwick warded dragon pit. Now while we're securing vision on the dragon and just yeah, our Caitlyn pretty much gets soloed by the Pike. I guess she was... this is what I was talking about again. Like, she's just overextending here without... I mean, with full vision of danger, just... I guess, alright. Doesn't really matter. Now here, Warwick wants to join the play. Thanks to our vision, we see that. We can cut him off and salvage this... horrible play bot. Like, what is this ever gonna do on her own? Not much. And even if Yasuo didn't join, would kill her, but thankfully he made that a little bit easier. So I get to live. That's very juicy. Now I don't know what is this dive. This dive now has gone a little bit too overambitious. If we just got Sivir and backed off while we had decent HP bars, we would be fine here. Now fortunately, we saw that Galio was roaming towards that play, but fortunately we were able to evade him. And now that the red buff has healed us quite significantly, I'm thinking about doing this dragon again, clearing the wards. And once more, Pike gets a little bit too brave, because, you know, reasons. Sadly, Zac got that kill. Would have been nice if our Caitlyn got it. Where our bot lane is actually losing. We need to carry this game. The Zac is playing well, but unfortunately our Caitlyn hasn't been able to find much success. And thanks to all the ganks, mid is doing well. Top lane is losing, but it's not that important, not that big of a deal, because you know, we've already unlocked the top lane. It takes a long time for the minions to reach our turret, so that's giving us time for Jax to be somewhere else and not dueling the Fiora in the duel that he's losing. So, I'm guessing that we had a decent amount of money here, yeah, that we wanted to spend before doing a Herald play, because, you know, would have been easier to do it if we have more items. Now, to be honest, I probably should have just used the Herald to get this bot lane turret, but it skipped my mind. Really wanted to go for the dragon instead. But the Herald is about to expire, and we're looking at mid. Unfortunately, our Yasuo is overextending, and we're not able to save him. And not only that, but we miss a very important Q, which might have resulted in at least one kill back in our favor. Now, since the Herald is about to expire, I'm really looking at just letting it drop down bot lane. And as I'm doing that, there is an engage that you know, gets our AD carry killed, but fortunately we get a return kill on the enemy AD carry, so this Herald is actually going to be able to charge the turret and do some work. Now, in the meantime, I have no words. This is like just repeating Yasuo's mistakes, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately the Jax did not really learn anything from what our Yasuo did. Here we are moving mid so we can try and hold the turret maybe, or help with the counter gank. We run into Pike, and we're not really going to commit to him. We're just there to do some damage and, you know, make it easier to make plays around him. Now he has to back, or if he joins the fight, he's going to be fairly low. We couldn't really hold mid 1v3 because we're a melee champion, but fortunately the Warwick gets baited quite easily into us. There's just no way they win this fight. We are way too fed. And Pike really finally gets the memo and leaves. He tried to help, but yeah, we're just blowing people up at this point. It's actually pretty amazing how much burst you can get even with no AD. Or very little AD, to be honest. Like, we're only starting to get some AD. Our next item is gonna be the Death's Dance, which is gonna heal off of our procs of the Blood Razor and the passive. So, and the Rage Blade, of course. It's a lot of healing that we otherwise would not have access to. So that's, you know, combine that healing and the CDR with our shields, and it's a very nice supplement to our defensive capabilities. Now we're looking at mid. It's turning into an Aram, but my top side jungle has been up for so long I just don't want to leave it up any longer. But you know, this is one of the things where solo queue, you know, I mean, what is this TP? So sometimes people just Aram it up. They don't really know what to do as a macro play, and they will just all go mid. Now this isn't very good because, you know, Jax, Caitlyn, and Yasuo are now sharing farm, which is not ideal. We would be getting our items faster if we had better lane assignments. And not only that, but also, funny enough, the enemy team is better in a 5v5. They have Galio, Sivir, Warwick, Pike. All of these champions are, well, to be honest, like Pike, Zac, that's a pretty good, you know, amount of team fight power on both sides. But generally the other champions are, the blue side champions are just better at team fighting. So we don't want to be clumping up like this. We'd be better out doing a 1-3-1. Now here, you see me taking another camp, and perhaps I could have even fought the Warwick, but I didn't have the confidence. I didn't trust my team that they would collapse on that play. Well, it already seemed that the enemy team was collapsed. And the Aram continues. I don't really want a team fight here either. Considering our build, we're kind of squishy, so we need to keep that in mind. We would die very quickly in a 5v5. And, you know, it doesn't look that bad at the start because we do have that synergy between Zac and Yasuo, but yeah, we are not as good in a 5v5. Now, I even flashed it to try and save this Sivir, but sorry, Caitlyn, but Sivir really wanted her booty and trades flash. She even has to burn flash heal to get that kill on Caitlyn and dies anyway, so that's not worth for Sivir. That's a greedy play. And this is another greedy Fiora. Just, you know, we don't have a lot of AD, but we have a ton of burst. We're pretty fed. Yeah. I don't know, these like 5v5 fights, I'm worth 1,000 gold. If I join that, I risk feeding 1,000 gold to Sivir, which is kind of what we're trying to avoid. But, you know, things don't always go to plan, as you will soon see, unfortunately. So we have our third item, and at this point I'm really not sure what to get next. Or I wasn't at the time, you know, you can see that I'm wasting time thinking about the build. But yeah, looking at the enemy team, we have, what do we have? We have a lot of physical damage. Fiora, lots of physical damage. Sivir, lots of physical damage. Pike building lethality. So, armor makes sense. Anti-crit specifically for Sivir. So we're gonna get that Randuin's for a little bit of extra survivability and CC, which is gonna help us team fight as well, because it looks like we're gonna have to. It's important to adapt your builds to the state of the game, you know. I mean, I could really solo this dragon. I don't need Caitlyn with me. And unfortunately our team is engaging again, getting themselves wiped. And, you know, I was hoping that maybe if I deleted the Sivir, we would do well here, but that's, my ultimate gets spell shielded and again, blasted. And I feed that 1,000 gold to Sivir. You know, everything we didn't want happening just happened there, because we team fought. And that just, you know, you need to make your own fires, as a clever high elo streamer once said. Or he often says that actually in his videos. You should follow him. I do believe that Foxdrop says that, and that's a good plan. You know, don't play reactively, play proactively. Because if I was pressuring another lane and maybe forcing the enemy team to split up, we wouldn't be in this situation. But we lost 3 turrets mid. We're gonna lose the inhib, and gold is about even. You know. Fortunately, we're still miles ahead of everybody, and we're gonna be using that to build back the game in our team's favor. But we're gonna do it at our own pace. We can't really let the ARAM continue, or we're probably gonna lose out in the team fights unless we massively outplay the enemy team. You know, and I prefer going for the high percentage play. Here, for instance, the enemy team is backing, and they're backing late after taking that inhib. So what do? Baron! We've got Yasuo, Jax, Caitlyn, and attack speed Vi. We do this very quickly. And sure enough, Galio is here to check it, but by the time he's there, it's already gone. Look at this. Wonderful. Back in the game. Baron is off the map. Now, here I want Caitlyn to take the red because it's 25 minutes in, and I'm thinking, you know, it's an AD carry. This AD carry should have 2 items at least. I have 3.5. But then I noticed that Caitlyn has an Infinity Edge and is rushing lifesteal second for whatever reason. I mean, Sivir too. Like, Sivir is... She has gold, but she's used it to build a Bloodthirster instead of a second crit item, and that's really hurting their team fighting capabilities. And I don't know what's the Caulfield's Warhammer supposed to build into. So we take the red for ourselves to, you know, try and carry with it, and we're not araming. We're moving to a side lane to start building up pressure. We're thinking about catching the Warwick. And here I do something really impatient. I'm like... pretending that I'm ignoring him, and he walks up. So here I could have probably just gotten engaged with the Q and then juke his fear with the R, but I was lazy and just ulted him, and we get nothing out of it. Now, because we are here, the enemy team is no longer mid. They're chasing us, and we've got them split up, which is great for a skirmishing build and champion, which we are playing and building. So here, since I'm ludicrously fed, I just get to blow up both Galio and Pyke, and none's the wiser. While we're doing that, Jax jumps into the enemy team trying to get the enemy to carry, but, you know, your E can protect you only so much. And here we're passing to cut off anybody who might try and run through this turret. Now, the enemy team is actually just running for the lives towards the base, which is fine. You know, you don't have to chase for kills, you don't have to kill people in order to win games, you just have to kill turrets. And sure enough, we still have that Baron, we have a wave, and we are taking an inhib turret. Maybe even 2. Now, there's some... I just want to rewind. I remember seeing this in-game, and I was like, what is going on here? I mean, for one thing, just look at this. Let's slow-mo that. Oh! Oh, that Q is great. Yeah, but even if the flash Q landed, it wouldn't have killed him. So, you know, you usually flash to get the kill, not to, like, I don't know. I'm not sure what that was. At any rate, you know, E is a point and click, so that works. And here we had to back behind our Caitlyn a couple of times. Press the back key just to show that we're not gonna stay and push the inhib with her, because that will get her killed. And if we defend her, it'll get us killed, so that's a no-no. Sure enough, there is the Caitlyn power spike with the Bloodthirster, and let's not even get into this Jax build. I'm not sure what's going on there. Yeah, maybe he's worried about all of the tanks that are in this game. You know, how is he gonna cut through all of that HP and armor? I don't know, man. So yeah, there's another dragon about to spawn, and having this wonderful, lovely build that we do have. You know, there's another reason why I like this build. Vi is a mid-game champion, traditionally, and she just falls off towards the late game. becomes kind of useless. Not with these items. Yeah, with these items you can be a pretty menacing into the late game, you know. So here we're just waiting to see if the enemy team will, for whatever reason, walk towards us. I mean, they really shouldn't. The dragon is dead, and they don't. There's no reason to face check those bushes. Fortunately, they do not. What are we doing? We're splitting. Why? Well, actually, I just wanted to correct this wave. You always want your side waves pushing before you group. So this is an uneven wave in our favor, and it's going to slow push towards this turret. Is going to build up to 2-3 waves, and that's going to force somebody to, you know, respawn to the wave. We don't have to physically be here in order for somebody to have to go and fix the wave. Now, unfortunately, we have Caitlyn and Yasuo pushing on their own here without proper vision on their flanks, and they get flanked and pretty much die. Yeah. So, since you know, we're not gonna get there in time to do anything useful. We might as well just push here. You know, the enemy team should really group here and push the mid inhib. Our team should defend that inhib. But we're feigning push towards this tower so that we would force the enemy team to split up. Now, we don't want to push any further because we don't have vision. There could be people collapsing on us. However, the blue team makes a call to send 3 people to take this nearly dead turret. Outer turret, which is kind of weird, honestly. This is the, you know, go-to play they should have made. Now here, I'm hoping that my team can hold the turret 3v3, but in hindsight, I probably should have roamed towards them. Just make sure that I'm there, preventing them from doing anything silly. And I am the strongest member of our team, so really they shouldn't be fighting, dedicating very hard without me. Because, you know, stuff like this happens. Fiora is getting further ahead of the Jax, and you know, she's building properly, fortunately, so there's that. And here we actually get face checked, if I remember correctly, by this Warwick, which is kind of weird. You see, we have full vision of him, and for whatever reason he follows us into our jungle. If you're weaker than the enemy jungler, you don't want to follow, you don't want to invade unless you know that they're on the opposite side of the map, you know. Yeah, so that was unfortunate. Now, there's one thing that it did there. I don't know if you noticed. It's just a small trick. Basically, we oh my god, poor Fiora. Yeah, we when we ulted the Warwick, as we were leaving our ult animation, we used our endurance to slow him. So even if he ults away, he will be slowed, and that gives me a chance to catch up to him. But his ultimate was down. I just didn't know that. Now here, the obvious play is to just do Baron. Why? Enemy top laner is dead, enemy jungler is dead, free Baron. Unfortunately, our team wants to fight 2v3 in the enemy jungle. I mean, Zach saw that and he was like, nope. Fortunately, because I do believe that Yasuo would have followed him. But then he goes into an even worse situation, is forced to flash out. And this is some unfortunate timing, stopping our Q. We have to flash out and reset the fight. Just, you know, if we did Baron and force the enemy team to come to us, we would be doing much better. But, you know, fortunately we're fed, and our items and the cooldown windows allow us to re-engage this fight 3 times and do some work. We do wipe the enemy team because they were, for whatever reason, you know, well, I guess it was about as good of a fight as they're gonna get. It's a choke point against the Sivir. Now, this man is not really respecting the fact that we can dive him. We're not really scared of turrets at this point. It's 30 minutes into the game. And we do have our end doings. It seems almost as if the game's about to end, but death timers are a little bit short for that, so we just take the wave, and I guess we now learn why the Caitlyn has a Bloodthirster. I mean, she just lost half HP to the minion wave, so it's useful to have the Bloodthirster to heal up after, you know, tanking up a wave for apparently no reason. And now since mid inhib and top inhib are down, like those lanes are pushing for us, and since we have those 3 pushing lanes, we just take the Baron. which will promptly be used to end the game. We're back to our 1,000 gold bounty. I mean, even after we got killed, we were actually at a 950 gold bounty, and I'm just taking this for myself. There's like nobody on the team who I trust with that. Unfortunately, our Ariasa has been doing work, but he has been dying a lot, so he wouldn't keep that red for long, and we can find good ways to use it. We are now up about 6,000 gold on the enemy jungler. We're actually up 6,000 gold against compared to mid lane and top lane as well, and only Sivir is kind of close at 14k. That's interesting. So our team engages without us, which has previously been losing us the game, but we're now quite far ahead in gold. Fiora is visible on the minimap top lane, and we just, steamroll the enemy team. We take our bags of gold, we sucker punch them, and, end the game. And everybody lived happily ever after the end. Ouch. The end. There we go. The end.